Oh dear.
Hey, and welcome to the Green Umbrella Live Lunch. Welcome. I always do this big welcome in the first few seconds, knowing that Facebook's going to kick in, LinkedIn's going to kick in, and it takes about 30 seconds. So I've done this really lovely welcome to absolutely nobody. I don't know why I do it every time, but there you go. It's just my thing. And every time I apologise about it, no one gets to hear that bit either. So I'm just talking to myself and you guys right now. All good. There we go. LinkedIn notifications just kicked in. Facebook notifications just kicked in. Here we are. So yes, it is Thursday. It's 12 o'clock. It's time for us to just come and hang out again and have a bit of fun, have a bit of a chat. Normally, we are talking about what's new in the world of social media and online marketing and that sort of stuff. But today is one of those shows that's slightly different. We've got a couple of guests on. As you can see, they're down there for me. I assume they're the same for everyone else. So, as some of you know, earlier this year, I got involved in a company called Success Psychology. It's all around mindset and mental health. And the reason for that is that so much of the work that I do, talking to people about, why they're not showing up and backing themselves when it comes to their marketing activity, actually comes down to a bunch of fears they might have, some a bit of imposter syndrome. And I've ended up having all these conversations around this stuff. So when I then got to know Imran, who's here, I started to sort of get involved in this stuff. So a couple of weeks ago, it was World Mental Health Awareness Day, and I couldn't remember the long title then either. Unfortunately, Imran, you were poorly, weren't you? So you didn't make it that week.
Apologies.
So we're doing it now. So we've got Imran. Imran, just give yourself a quick introduction because it's a while since you've been on.
Introduction for you guys? Yeah, absolutely. As if, 100%. So let me just turn myself on. Okay. So, hey, Imran in the house. So for many of you that don't know me, we formed a company early in the year, essentially last year, actually, Success Psychology. And since then, we have been on quite the ride in terms of the different events, the different changes we've seen in people, the transformations, the education, the standard, really taking things out to individual and beyond groups and corporates in terms of the difference we can make through education and inspiration, if I'm honest, because I feel that's the element that is missing from most training and education. That's me.
Excellent. Cool. And we have the fantastic Rich Waterman on the show as well. First, your inaugural visit to the Green Umbrella Live Lunch. And I know you've got no idea what to expect. So
yeah. Apart from a very brief intro one that you did with Jen, I've my next time I might be work out how to get my camera around the other way rather than in portrait mode, but that's okay. I didn't realise Imran had an on button. I've just discovered that. I'm just turning myself off.
I've been looking for the off button for a while.
Yeah, I'm here because of Imran initially, which was so I've been a Tony Robbins trainer like Imran, and then we spoke at a recent Tony event in Birmingham, and Imran wanted me to come and have a look at the events and what you were all doing, and I'm like, it's a really cool combination of very, I think, innovative personal development tools combined with a massive heart. So I love the heart of the community of Success Psychology, and so I'm sort of coming in to be part of the core team now. I'm really excited about it, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more as we go along today. But yeah, really, really cool. We're doing this stuff for about 18 years now, so got some idea what I'm doing. Either that or I just do the same stuff over and over again. People like it, that's fine.
Awesome. So, okay, so like, where shall we start? I've got the Bro Experience coming up on the 18th of November. And that day in itself is, I mean, it's just a massive experience. Like, Kim, you've been to the event before, right? So, and this was kind of the first thing that you did in the world of sort of personal growth, really.
Yeah. So the first one I went to was May, and then went to it again in August. And yeah, I love it. Like, I can't wait for the next one, which is November 18th, I want to say. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and it's all about, I've learned a lot about myself, about what I do, why I do it. And I guess it's just a way of sorting your shit out. Do you know what I mean? Like, for years and years, you spend so long doing certain behaviors, thinking certain ways. And it's just unpacking all of that, and then, you know, learning how to feel better, but be better within myself. So yeah, I love it. I'm addicted to it.
I think that's Kim. It's amazing that for us on the outside to come and witness, because obviously initially there was you working as part of Green Umbrella, doing your thing, and then seeing you show up at the event and seeing what you experienced, but also seeing how far you were willing to go in terms of how deep you're willing to delve to find all of the crap, and like you said, sorting your shit out. Right?
Yeah.
Getting rid of the very things that were imprisoning you and hold you back, the very patterns that maybe had been passed down on you, but you didn't actually form. Some of the labels that were stuck on you that you didn't deserve to wear. So I think once you get to the depth of unraveling all of that, everything becomes so much easier, doesn't it? And you
100%.
experience it now.
100%. Yeah, life is just, how can I explain it? It's just a lot lighter, a lot calmer. You know, I'm not walking around sort of in my own chaos anymore, which is probably the best way to describe it. I tend to just, I don't want to say breeze through my days, because obviously not every day is a great day, but if I start my day off the right way, then it doesn't matter what happens. I'm just like, yeah. It's no longer like, oh my God, this has happened, but, and you know, so many external things like pecking your head. And yeah, I think I'm just a bit nicer to be around as well.
So this is the thing that I find really interesting when I'm talking to people about about coming to the event. It's it's really easy for us to say that if you've had past trauma, you should come to this event. If you've been dealing with depression, you should come to this event. And there's all these sort of different, it's almost like ticking a box. Like, if you've got any of these things, you should come to this event. But it's so much more than that. It is Rich, Imran, you guys have been doing this for such a long time. You see, not everyone necessarily has a trauma, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, I went to my first personal development event, and that was actually because I'd had depression in 2005, and I was just fed up with it, really. So that's why I stumbled across Tony Robbins. But like, it's quite common that people come to their first event because there's something not right and not working. And absolutely, what the breakthrough day will do is help people to create possibility. Is like there's a little chink of light, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, there's another way that things can be, and often that is the start of your journey. But it is just to have that hope is huge. And yet I think there's a whole other group of people where life's okay, and there could be so much more, and it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're going to struggle if you're going to struggle just to get to the event, just find someone to get you there. And once you get you there, there's enough experienced people there that can help you. We've got very experienced coaches in the room as well. So don't feel like you're going to be a burden, or you're going to get in the way, or you're going to slow things down for other people. Quite the opposite, actually. What we tend to find is when we can help someone in the room, it opens up possibilities for other people. So actually your willingness to go through transformation is often the thing that everyone else in the room needs to see for themselves, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a family fundamentally. So it's safe to come and explore who you really are, rather than maybe how you've been showing up to this point.
Imran, what's your thoughts?
I mean, in essence, I mean, just on the back of what Kim and Rich have said, again, just watching someone put, I think it was Paul Green, put a note in, what is your key takeaway, Kim, or key learning? And it's and I can see it. I can see that there's so much that's there. You go.
Yeah, sorry, I've only just realised I was on a private chat. I thought everyone's a bit quiet.
So you can go first, and I can summarize afterwards.
Okay, so my key takeaway is probably I very much cared about what people thought about me. I very much thought that I wasn't good enough to, how can I describe it? I always do the funny thing. So I've got a chink of armor, I do the funny thing, that's absolutely fine. But the actual looking into stuff, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, my childhood wasn't absolutely horrific. It could have been better like most people, so I won't go into it. But there was a lot of stuff from that. I was like, well, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And actually today I've made peace with that, which is just like, it's been bothering me for such a long time. And actually, I'd say the biggest takeaway is I just love learning about myself now. I would never sit on my own for longer than 5 minutes. I'll be like, I'm trying to do this, that. And actually, I love switching my phone off. I love learning new things. And if it's not for everyone, that's okay, because I don't have to follow the crowd anymore. I can just do me. And yeah, I love it. I love it. And I've had a couple of friends that have gone as well. And yeah, I'm not shy in telling people that it has changed my life. And that sounds really dramatic and really like, you know, but it's true. It's absolutely true.
Yes, you know, for us, that's beautiful, because you know, we spend this day and we put this day together, and you know, Christina's a big part of it. You know, Rich is a big part of it. You know, we're all a team and a huge part of it. Jen, Lewis, you know, we're all a massive part of putting this event together, in terms of making sure that you're cared for, you're looked after, you're supported. You know, you need some help, someone's there for you. But ultimately supporting you in the journey of you going into those places of darkness and finding, as Rich said, those areas of light, right? And sometimes, you know, we stay in the darkness for so long that we stop looking for the light. And that's what people have led to: hopelessness, or not knowing that there's a greater way or a different choice or a different path that's going to lead you to the place you want to be. The fact that you can, given what you've come through, can see a better way beyond this, through, for instance, that one day, or like you said, you made peace with your past. Now that's a big deal for a lot of people. That takes like sometimes years of work, right? And Rich and I have seen it in the industry. Stuff can take years, and you could be spending a whole load of money in terms of actually dealing with the very problems. And you know, as we say, you know, even the great quote from Einstein, which was, you know, you cannot deal with the problems from the same level of consciousness that created it. So you cannot deal with a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. You had to step into an environment that changed your level of consciousness, that saw a different version of you, that would see the truth through what you've been living, and find that version, get hold of that version, embody that version, and take that version forward, and leave the old version behind and say, hey, I'm done with you for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, honestly, it's beautiful to witness.
So
there's a question for you.
Yeah, it opens the gates to the best version of you. I thought it was awesome, and I can't wait to go back. So that's Ria.
Oh, amazing. We love you, Ria. See you soon.
She'll love that.
She's famous. She's been
I don't know about my internet. My internet connection is not the best, so let's see if I can get this through the airways. But just building on what Imran just said, I mean, it's just so there's an illusion that there are three elements to time, which is past, present, and future, and that there isn't. There's only one. There's now. And what happens is, obviously, people store memories in their brain of things that have happened in the past, but it's not actually their past. It's just memories of the past. And therein lies the beauty of this work, is that, you know what, you can change it. because there are factual things that happened, and you will have remembered some of those facts, not all of them. But you'll have created meaning for those facts, and that meaning can change. You can change the meaning of anything. Like, at the time, my divorce in 2001 was the most painful thing I'd ever experienced, and now it's the greatest gift that ever happened to me. And the future's definitely made up because it hasn't happened yet. And you see a lot of anxiety and worry at the moment. People are, a lot of trying to get control over what is uncertain and what is unknown, but it's made up. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, you should be prepared for stuff, is going to happen. Like, if we go to, me and Imran could probably wander into breakthrough experience and do it with no prep, but, we'd like to create a really good day for everyone. So preparation and, risk assessment, risk mitigation all makes sense. But like worrying about stuff that hasn't happened yet is going to create one thing, and that's just a bad feeling inside you. And actually what you tend to do is create the thing that you don't want because you're focusing on it. Now, that's the beauty of this work, is actually getting people more present and then helping them to create different meaning for the past, and also then create what we call a compelling future, a really exciting future, something you want to step into, something you want to wake up to rather than fear. So, yeah, it is magic. It's like the closest thing to magic on earth that I've come across.
It's a very different experience to just, doing an exercise where you put a vision board together. This is a, I've done things in the past where it's like, the magazine's on the table, you've got your scissors and your Pritt stick or whatever they're called, and you're going for it. But this is, when we start to look at that compelling future, it is we use the word embodiment quite a lot, but it is, you're seeing it, you're feeling it, you're hearing it, and it becomes so much more real. And so being able to take the actions required to get there, you just make it less of an unknown for yourself. And I think that's the thing. That's when things truly become, you see them as being possible. When you see something as being possible, it's instantly, it's that little bit easier to achieve. And I think this is the thing with, the breakthrough. You could be in that room, you could make a life-altering decision, or you could just learn that one little thing about yourself that creates that next incremental gain that gets you closer to that vision. And I think that's the thing that I've loved most about it. It's like, since I've got involved in this stuff. Yeah, there's been amazing conversations with people who you're watching their lives change in front of you. But it's the conversations where I was talking to someone at the last breakthrough, and they were like, I never realized that this is how I've been behaving in relationships, and that's why things have not been like, I need to change that in order to find the relationship that I want. And it, someone that's been working on themselves for a long time, and it was just that penny drop moment. And it just, like I said, it makes all the difference. Just these little things. I mean, Imran, you would have seen things like this so many times, so many shifts.
Do you know, Rich and I have had the privilege of being around, I suppose, the best in the world when it comes to this, and we've had the privilege of spending enough time around someone like Tony Robbins being the best in the world with the events worldwide, and Rich and I have traveled worldwide essentially to get to where we needed to go. And you get to see different people at different levels with a different set of problems. And a lot of the time you also gain the experience of realizing just that, as you said, just that one thought, that one shift, that one spark that ignites the fire that's going to burn the flames out forever moving forward and create that future. That's ultimately, it's the spark we're looking for, right? For a lot of people, life has become either meaningless or tasteless. Unfortunately, a lot of us have been programmed into believing we had to achieve in order to receive, in order to be worthy, in order to be loved. And we spent a life forged with achievement over and over and over again. No one spoke about fulfillment. No one spoke about emotions. No one spoke about what we want and how worthy we are. And again, going back to the two human fears of not being enough and not being loved, and ultimately why we do what we do, there's an element of worthiness, or a lack of worthiness, should we say, that shows up in so many people. And if you can shift that, you shift everything. And Rich, you know, the work we do, as long as we get to the level of worth, it will trickle down and change everything. But if we're still trying to change things at the level of behavior, that doesn't shift. That's hard work. That's when you got to wake up every single day and spend time. And that's where you get tired of developing yourself. And you say, well, hey, the old self is a lot more easier and better, so I'll just go back to that. But the journey, really, we see people transform within environments because all it took was a perspective. And all these things are shifting perspective. Now, you can come in, you can either shift perspective or you can shift your entire personality, right? Which will ultimately create a new personal reality moving forwards. And right now we're imprinting the future. However, those small steps, those small imprints, one step at a time, are creating what that future really is, because it hasn't happened. Right, Rich?
Yeah. Yeah, wise words, mate. I mean, it's interesting. Like, so most people will go through life just tolerating, just surviving, just like, you know, I've got a job, I get my money, I might have a holiday a year, get some presents for Christmas, etc., etc. And actually, those that have either usually gone through a significant moment or period of pain are the ones that actually go looking for a deeper truth, deeper answer. So actually, sometimes we're blessed to have had those things happen to us, because otherwise you just, I think like the film The Matrix is like scarily accurate. It's like most people are just plugged in and just not really experiencing life at all. So I agree totally with what Imran's saying, and you see it in the modern world now, right? So the world's run by ego, which is insecurity, inadequacy, and scarcity. So whenever you see that show up for yourself, just know that it's not true. It might take you a while to work through it. And one of the things that I love, I mean, one of the things that I think myself and Imran both experienced in the Tony Robbins environment is this tremendous sense of community. I think there's a few people on the chat here from the Tony Robbins crew that I helped run back in July with my friend Lisa. And like, if we're not very careful, we get stuck into being a human doing. So we're just ticking off to-do lists and tasks and things like that. And yet, I could ask any person on that crew what are the things that you did during those few days we had together, and they might remember a few, but they won't. What they'll actually remember is the community and how we felt and how we bonded together, and how, even though quite frankly it was a bit of a shitstorm through no one's fault, we all banded together and loved each other. And being relatively new to the success psychology environment, that's what's special about those, that, but whether it's the 1 day breakthrough experience or 5 day ECT that we do, it's the community. It's the community that helps you be more of who you are. It's the community that helps you transform. It's the community that gives you permission to love yourself. It's the community that gives you permission to step away from ego. It's really bloody hard to do that by yourself, because I tried, right? I did my first few Robbins events, and then I went away and went, oh, I know I'm a smart kid, I know how to do this, blah, blah, blah. It's actually bloody hard on your own. Really, in fact, it's also stupid to try and do it on your own. So, like, whatever community it is for you, whether it is Tony Robbins crew, whether it's coming and checking out what we're doing, or any other event, I can't emphasize enough that peer group and community are so important. Because you see everyone else doing it, you went, fucking hell, I can do that. Possibility, right?
I think this is the thing, you know, when you see there's a lot of advice out there, and we so excuse me, we saw it a couple of weeks ago with, you know, mental health awareness, and everyone's suddenly an expert for a day, right? Putting out their content, and these are the things you should do. And number one is ask for help. But it's not just about asking for help in the moment. It's about having that place that you can go on the good days too, so that baseline that you have just continues to rise and rise and rise. And this, for me, this is why community is so important. This is why what we're creating is so important, because it is about producing that home base, the ability for someone to reach out into, whether it's in our Facebook group or in one of the WhatsApp groups, and say, actually, like, is anyone around for a call tonight? Because I just need a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's that in itself is quite vulnerable. And we all go, you know, I I work with a lot of recruitment businesses. Rich, I know you do some stuff working with recruitment businesses as well. Being vulnerable for people in business, it's like, no, we're in business, we're this, we're that. We've got all these labels that we're wearing and this persona we're trying to live. And actually to step into that vulnerability and go, actually things aren't quite right in a safe environment is I feel like that's the gift we bring. Someone has to chip in. Now, this is what happens. I start ranting, I go off on one, and everyone's like, we don't know where she's going. And someone has to start.
I'm just letting that sink in, actually. It's like, it's totally right. And having somewhere where you can unashamedly celebrate your successes and people are cheering for you, not feeling jealous or envious. That's one of the things I love about a success psychology community is people like just go mad for other people's successes because they know that it's calling that out in themselves as well. So you're right. I think across the whole board, really. I mean, there's a high degree of vulnerability of saying, do you know what, I'm not all right. And actually, even better in this community is people know you're not quite right, even if you don't say anything. It's that powerful where people can check in and go, do you know what, you're right, mate? Or like, what's going on type thing. And then that second bit of like, just, there is no scarcity because like, you know what, we, Harry and Alicia ran an event recently and everyone was cheering them on. It wasn't like, oh, if you have a successful event, that means I can't have one. Quite the opposite. It actually, there's always stacking going on, which is brilliant. I just love seeing that.
I think
Sean's just go on. You do yours, and then I'll bring in. So we've just had something in the comments I want to touch on.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna reference on the fact that we talk about community a lot, and I know it's key and it lifts us up absolutely. And for a lot of people, they don't have the environment around them to create that change for them or help create the change. The most challenging part of creating any change is to, once you've had that new insight and that spark, and you've lit the flames essentially of that fire, and sometimes it's channeling it in the right way. It's ensuring that it continues to be channeled, right? Because it can be dimmed very quickly. What happens is people dim their light very quick. They see a new spark, they go back into the real world. As you said, Rich, we get plugged back in. We try and deal with these things, and the fire burns out or gets dimmed because we know that we're not going to be accepted in the same way. We got to wear the mask. We got to be who someone else wants us to be in order to feel worthy enough on this journey. So there's so many things and blockers and roadblocks that get in our way. And there's so many no entry signs. And the beautiful thing is with that community, for instance, they'll help you walk through those no entry signs and continue to walk up that hill or that path or different terrains or territory. I think the most important thing in this journey is to understand that, the map is not the territory, like we say, the world is what we think, but there's a world that exists way beyond our thinking. And that's so true. Because we only know what we know, and we only know what we've experienced and been programmed with, and we've deleted, distorted, and generalized most of that stuff. So it's like, who are we really? Are we all of that, or are we way more? And how do we get to the depth of who we are, and then embody that and live that? And this is why when the community shows up, like Rich was saying about just cheering them on, because you are being your true, real self, and once you show up as that. Those feelings, you surpass all of those feelings that may have imprisoned you in the past, because you become such a greater version of yourself where you now become the version like Kim that starts lifting other people up instead, right? She's now felt that she's been uplifted. So now it's a duty that she reaches down and pulls other people up because she's come so far, which is the phenomenal part of the community. And that's why, Kim, you play such a great part, because you are one of those people that want people to experience this, to come along to this, to just get out of their own way, because all of us see problems in people, in relationships right now. Relationship problems are huge. We've all had our fair share of relationship challenges, we know, but relationships are huge right now. Anxiety, depression, overwhelm, burnout, these are PTSD. These are very these are conditions that exist right now. and people need a sense of reality. They need the right space to go to. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be clear. Most people, when they get a problem, they'll go to a doctor, they'll get referred to the NHS, and that we don't know how long that will take with a mental health condition. Now, there was a case yesterday, literally, I believe it was about 8 months between the time that they were essentially told and then seen and then taken into a mental health facility. And that was they went on a pretty much a downward spiral from that point. However, look how long it takes for someone to deal with that challenge. I just feel there is, from what we do, how we do, there's such an easier, more effective, more efficient way to get down to the source of what we need to change and what's causing that depression, what's causing the anxiety, what's causing us to live in those states. If we can break through them, because many of us haven't been taught those tools. Once we know how, those tools are with us for life. And actually, and you've seen that as well, Kim.
Yeah. Funny enough, you mentioned about the doctors and things. I remember, I can't remember exactly when it was, but I remember exactly what happened. I rang the doctors. I was just feeling really overwhelmed with life, and I was like, I need to see someone. Like, I can't be hanging around. I need to see someone. So, oh, we'll pop you down for a call back. It's in 2 weeks. Can we call you back then? I said, well, you can try, but I might not be here. Like, obviously, I was joking, somewhat joking about, but, and their first answer is to take some more tablets. And it's like, I've been taking tablets since I was probably about 15, 16. And I don't feel that they've really done much for me, but from doing the breakthrough, I mean, it's been nearly 6 months now. The difference in my mental health in 6 months has improved far greater than the 20 years I've been on medication. Hands down, fact. And that's why I'm quite passionate about this stuff, because I always used to think that I was quite cynical. Well, not think, I was, all of this heebie-jeebie stuff, as people think, but we just go, it's the rat race of the same shit day in, day out. We go to work, we go out at the weekend to try and escape our lives, and it's just a constant hamster wheel of life. But having done this stuff, yeah, the difference mentally for me personally, and I can only talk about my experience, it's crazy. Like, it is crazy. And I just wish I'd known about this stuff a lot sooner. And I cannot recommend it enough. I'm probably fangirling a little bit, but honestly, I'm like, to all my friends, I'm like, you gotta come. It's one day. It's like, would you do anything to improve your mental health? Yeah, I'll do anything. I can't live like this anymore. Do you want to come and spend a day in London? A bit busy, actually. And we just make up these crap excuses, and then we're just battling, going through day to day, the school run, the same shit every day. And it doesn't actually have to be that difficult. And that's what I feel like now. Like, life isn't perfect, but it's not half as painful as it was.
That's interesting. Just on the back of that, that's just beautiful to listen to, number one. But that, I suppose, embodies that quote: when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change. That's when we change, right? When the pain of continuing that identity, continue to live small, continue to live the same years as many times, and we think it's a life, continuing down the path that isn't serving us. And ultimately, you found your spark, you found your reason. And now there's no going back, because you can't go back to the old version, Kim.
I'm not can't. I won't.
And it's not possible anymore. We know that. Once you evolve to the level that you have, it's very difficult to deflate yourself back down to that place, right? Because
yeah, I mean, Imran, I've got a personal trainer now, Imran. Like,
wow.
What is that about?
Oh my God. Okay.
Shout out to Jess, by the way. She'll want a shout on this. Becoming Body Wise, Jess. There you go. But yeah, even things like that, like, I'm just looking after myself more mentally and physically. And like I said about starting the day right, if I don't start my day right, I am a right cranky bastard. I really am, because I haven't set my intentions for the day of, like, we wake up, bang, we're on our phones. The whole world is chaos before we've even left the bed. When actually, just spend a little bit of time with yourself. And I guarantee the day will just be a lot easier. So yeah.
One of the things that I love about the breakthrough experience is like it is one day, so it's not a massive commitment, but I do tend to find that like if you've not been in a great space for a while, like you kind of just need that bit of energy to come into your system to enable some level of transformation. Something's got to change, right? Something's got to be different, and so it's quite hard to create that momentum or that shift by yourself, because you've got to make a conscious decision to do something different, and ideally have someone support you with that as well, and that might not be possible in the peer group you are. So that's what I like about this one-day immersion, is that it gives you some energy, and you can feed off the rest of the room, and everyone else is working on themselves as well, so it feels safe as well, and also like you don't feel like you're the only one that's got this problem. It actually is like, well, do you know what, everyone else is here for a reason as well. And then the real key, I think, then is when you go back, is like, okay, what am I going to do? Have I got that peer group, that support around me to continue? And hopefully you have. If not, you got a success psychology family or any other community you choose to. Because there's two things that can happen. Basically, you either go back to old habits, but the problem is you've actually got that awareness of what's possible now. So I call this shelf development hell, because you put your self-development on the shelf, but you're now not doing anything with it. But in your back of your head, you got this thing like, do you know what, I knew something different is possible, just that I've gone back to old habits. So in some ways, that's more painful than having not gone to the event. But that might be the pain that you need to go and do something else different as well. And then the other way I think where people can make a mistake is going, right, I've now created this new possibility. I know I'm now capable of this. So therefore, the whole of my life should be perfect like that. I should be able to line all my ducks up and have basically transformed to the perfect life. And the reality is you're not.
Oh,
he'll be back. And the reality is, Rich,
He's keeping it secret, top secret.
Yeah.
we can just talk about it now while he's gone away.
Well, I'm surprised he did so well up until now. So yeah, well done on him. He'll be back in a minute.
He's back.
There we go.
I broke the internet.
Somebody unplugged Rich.
So, I know. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
We hear you now.
Hopefully you can. I'll keep talking. And then Tony Robbins talks about this. Is people like try and cool. Yeah, Tony Robbins talks about this. And people try and pretend that there aren't any weeds in the garden. It's just like it's almost like I call toxic positivity, where everything's great. And you've got to be careful of that, because actually all emotions are feedback. Like whether it's loneliness or frustration or anger, whatever, it's all feedback. It's just so that when you really get somewhere useful, it's when you're able to take stuff like that and go, oh, actually this is useful to me, as opposed to getting stuck in it. And I think that's really, really hard to do on your own. I also think it's a bonkers thing to do, because why not share the joy of the journey with other people? Or the internet shuts you down because what you're saying is far too powerful and useful.
Listening to Kim, I've got a question for you.
For who, me?
Yeah.
Hate it when you put me on the spot. Go for it.
When you first came to Breakthrough, I was like, I'm your boss and you're coming. Whether you like it or not, you're coming, I'll pay you for the day. Like it's just like you have to come to this. And you were quite apprehensive.
I had a panic attack when the event started. In fact, before the event started, and Jen had to take me out to a side room, and she was doing the spinning wheel thing. And if you don't know what that is, you'll have to come to Breakthrough and find out.
What were you expecting? Because you'd never been to anything like that before. You didn't really know anything about Tony Robbins. So, like, what were you expecting?
I don't know, because I just thought, what the bloody hell am I letting myself in for? Because I'd seen the change that it had in you, so I knew that it worked, but I didn't know what you'd done to get it. So then when I went in and the first thing was, met some people, they were lovely, we all kind of, you know, doors open, you can come in now, the music starts, bang, bang, high energy, and there's people dancing around like lunatics, and I'm thinking they're all on drugs. And I was just like, oh my God, like, why are people so happy? What is wrong with these people? But I didn't, I thought we'd all be sat around in a circle and we'd all be, you know, deep diving on what an absolute mess life is. But actually, it was really insightful. It was funny. We had a lot of fun. Yeah, the dancing was a bit like, oh, but actually, by doing that, you shift the way that you feel. So I now totally understand why you do it. I mean, there's a reason why people go out to the nightclubs and dance all night long, because they want to make themselves feel better, and it works. Just not so much with the alcohol. But yeah, what was I expecting? I think I had this vision. Ria, you did dance. In fact, I was just glued to my seat. She was like, get up. I was like, I can't. And I literally freaked the hell out. But actually, it's that fear, it's that ego almost, you know, thinking, well, I haven't got anything to say. What am I doing here? Like, why, you know, people are all going to be looking at me. No, they're not. If anything, they're looking at Imran. Look at him, good looking boy. You're welcome. You're going to shout at me for that, I know. But yeah, it was just, and like you say, it's like you don't go in and there's this, I mean, some people do have a massive light bulb moment, but for me, it's literally the catalyst and a breakthrough of just a simple, tiny thing when we were writing down the stories that we did. No, Paul, I'm not going to show my dance moves on here, thank you. Yeah, it was a simple exercise that we did of writing your story, and there was just the one line that, and I didn't know what I was going to write. I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know how to start it. And I think you told me, Christina, just write bullet points. So just write bullet points of, you know, everything that I thought I felt and that I've been experiencing. And then there was just this one line that I'd written, and it just said, it was never my fault. And there's reasons behind that. But it was just that one sentence. It was never my fault. And so much so, actually, I can't really see it there. I got it tattooed on me with the Breakthrough logo because I'm a bit of a geek. But it is just that all the shit that I've had in my head, like, why did this happen? Why wasn't that person there? Why did I get treated like this? All that burden that I've been carrying for however long. And it was just, well, it wasn't my fault. That's it. It just, and that's, you know, I've had conversations with one of my parents since, and a lot of the stuff that I thought I felt was actually something I'd built up in my own head. You know, things didn't actually happen the way that I thought it would. The way that I thought it did. So yeah, just that, it was literally just that one sentence. It was never my. And that was the start, like you say, that's the start of then the building blocks to, you know, looking into it more. And yeah, it's just changed my life, guys.
I mean, Kim, how many days are we talking now without a drop of alcohol?
Without so that's another thing as well. You know, so many of us are just doing the same crap, trying to escape their life, which I was doing almost every weekend. Going out all the time, think I'm having a great time, but actually battering myself. I am looking, bear with me. So I thought, well, I'm going to knock that on the head. For anyone that can't see that, that's 98 days without one single drop of alcohol. And because I just don't feel like I need it anymore. I don't need it. Like, there's not one thing that's happened yet bad enough. And there's been some stuff, don't get me wrong, but not one bit that I've thought I need to use that as an escape. So yeah, I've saved a fortune, Imran, thanks. It's paying for my PT.
Hey, listen, you just enjoy those PT sessions. What I'm saying is that these, on the back of just what you said, whether it's the alcohol, whether it's the change of life. I mean, people throw that term around, as Rich was saying, quite loosely. It's changed my life, and we know that we've been around long enough, and this is why ultimately Rich came on board, because you come into an environment and you gel right in. You see the people around, and you know that you're being called to do more. You are ultimately putting yourself in a position to do as much as you can, because you know that you have a massive value for service, a massive value for giving, a massive value for helping people elevate and transform. So the fact that we can have that environment, we can have these great people that can literally make shifts in moments. And this is what you're going to get from it, which is those shifts in those moments. This is where you're going to make those decisions. I mean, most people go and they make a decision, or they go to an event and they go and learn some information and they come home. And that's sort of, that's potential power, but that's not true power. Once we take action and implementation on the very things that we learn, like you did, which was, okay, these are the areas I'm going to decide on.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the shifts start occurring. That's where the beauty starts coming through. That's where the future starts getting formed, right? Through those various shifts of those decisions we make today. And it was the same time that Rich made a decision in that room. He's like, right, I love this. Right, I know I'm feeling in my heart space. I'm feeling my soul is saying yes. So I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what I'm doing. I am in, right? And Rich, that's the beauty of being able to serve at the level that we can, because once you feel that you have the environment, once you feel the intention, once you see the vision, and you feel how much of a mission that we're all on to drive this thing forward, sometimes you have no choice but to be in, right?
Yeah. That was how you described that was very accurate. I thought actually I was being invited in because of my high quality internet connection, but apparently there's other stuff as well. It's interesting. So going back to Tony environment, I think Paul was asking about, are we both currently Tony Robbins trainers? Well, Imran is. I'm a former senior trainer for Robbins. I retired 3 years ago, and I'm thinking about coming back into it, but doing sort of fairly specific talent development type stuff. And I love the people in that community and environment. That was one of the reasons why I stayed in it for so long. But the success psychology ones is different. It definitely is. I'm very fortunate enough in my own personal development journey to kind of move away from, as Imran said earlier on, kind of defining myself by success and what I'd achieved. Sometimes I actually forget now what I've done. And I get the lovely Christina remind me in this amazing bio she writes for me. But I just realised how important the being and the love space was. So as soon as I experienced just literally that first breakthrough experience event, I'm in. I mean, like the details genuinely don't matter. They just don't matter. It's like same with we do a 5-day experience called ECT, and it's like I don't actually really care what I'm learning or the content of what's going on. What I'm actually care about is how I'm feeling and how this this kind of experience is really. That's what I think is magical. Because like don't get me wrong, I've gone around a few different events and things around the world, and some are good, and there's a lot of good content out there. If what you're looking for is really high quality content and really feeling like you belong, you should have a look at what Imran and Christine and the rest of the team have created, because it's magical, and it is something I've been doing this stuff 17 and a half years, as I said, nearly 18 years. And I'm like, I just wanted to be involved. I really badly wanted to be involved. And that doesn't happen very often because I'm quite a picky sod, actually. And a big part of it is, yes, I want to be able to serve people. But a big part of it is I want to be able to learn from people as well. I want at 53 years old. I don't know. Some of you are sitting there going, you can't possibly be that old. I am. I want to be able to learn from people as well. I want to be able to learn from the next Kim. I don't know who the next Kim's going to be at the next event, but there's going to be another Kim. I want to learn from Kim. Because one thing I do know is people have been through a lot of shit and they're still here. There's a lot to learn from them. And if you can then redirect that energy in a more positive way for them, into possibility rather than survival, that's really cool. Really cool. And yeah, I mean, I love blowing smoke up Imran's ass, but I mean, he's really good at this stuff as well. I love to watch. One of the joys of being coming in and being a presenter as well is I get to watch Imran doing what he does, which is, how would I describe it? So a lot of coaching, a lot of NLP people that you see, they will kind of show off a little bit and say, oh, look what I can do with my tools to help transform this person. Imran's like totally opposite. He's very much, he will just sort of feed, it's like a buffet almost. He will feed things to the person that he's working with and let them sort of step into their own transformation, choose their own transformation, and with an incredible heart space. It's like, you're loved, you're safe, it's going to be fine, and I'm going to give you the time and space to explore where you need to go, and I'm here with you every step of the way. That's really unusual in the personal development space, to see someone that's, I know he'll start crying in a moment because he gets so emotional about all these nice things I'm saying about him, but it's very rare to see someone with that level of skill, to have that level of heart. Really rare. Which is actually, why I would definitely, don't need to choose both, but I would choose this community over my Robbins community. That's how much I love it.
Wow. Wow. Well, I've got to say something now because, he just could have dropped the mic at that point and that's it, done. He's out. Internet dropped. Lovely comment, Ria. Beautiful comment. And Rich, there comes a time where you and I met, and I know when we met, I've still got that picture. I'll send it to you after this session, actually. The picture of us on the fire lane, just at the end of the fire lane. Just you and I think Mika took that. And I knew even before we had that conversation that day, I knew there's something about you that I need to talk to you. I need to see where you're at. I didn't come and find you. I was called to call on you. And that was it. There was a calling that I found that once you enter that environment, I'm like, wow, the level of experience, me and Christina talk about this all the time, the level of experience that you bring, the level of heart that you just plug straight in because that is you. The level that knowing that seeing you up on stage and delivering your magic in such a profound way is just, it's amazing to sit back and watch because we're having a laugh most of the time as well. Me and Kim were talking about putting some shows on for you, right? Some stand-up comedy shows, because it was absolutely hilarious. And I remember just standing back saying, hey, you're like, I want to come off. I'm like, no, carry on, right? We need you up there longer. Because you're not just there to deliver education. You're not just there to pass over information. You're there to create transformation. And you do it in a way that is humorous, that is loving, that is supporting. You embody all of the things you said just a moment ago about me. And this is what I recognized in you, to say, okay, this journey is a big one. There's a lot more people in the world that are making this world a worse place every single day for human beings as they move forward. And there's very little, and there's very few that are actually on a mission to make it a better place, to help people's mindsets, to make it their mission to help people's mindset, but not just that, their heart set and the depth of the spirit and the soul, right? Taking people beyond where they currently are in order to see where they can be. You've done that. You've proved that in your own life. You've done that for thousands and thousands of people worldwide. And then it's just amazing to know that you can come into this environment in Langley near Heathrow. You can plug into this environment and you're like, wow, I love this. I want to be part of this stuff. And it just goes to show the levels that you've evolved over the years, but your ability to just give back. And I think that's key. When you can just give back, when you can notice a spark in someone, whether that's Kim, whether that's Christina, whether that's Jen, whether that's people in our environment, when you can notice that spark in someone and you just give a loving hand to say, hey, I'm going to lead you with love, because that's what you need in this moment right now. But I love you enough to tell you the truth as much as I love you enough to care for you. And when you step into that leadership that you are, that position of leadership, and Rich, you've been living that leadership position for, I feel, decades now. I even remember seeing you up on stage going, man, who is this guy? I want to be like Rich. Yeah, that's what it was. And I see this phenomenal person with a huge heart come through. And I see people in the environment, and Christina's just piped up, and Jen's piped up, and they're like, and Lewis has piped up, and we're all like, dude, this was not something that I decided or we decided. This is something that was called upon us, essentially. And, you know, forces greater than us had a hand in this. So I feel that you coming on board, Rich, has only solidified the team. And we're grateful 100%. We're blessed, actually, way more than that, because it's not just solidified the team. It's also encouraged. It's also encouraged others that they can see the light. It's also enabled others. It's also empowered others to become more. And that's the profound impact you had in such a small period of being with us through breakthrough and emotional change therapy. And now you're doing it all, mate. So I can step away now. I can go and retire, and I can pass the baton on.
I'm making
Well, you guys are too cute.
I'm like, oh. Yeah, but this is why. So, and I'm going to put the link up now. This is why I am so excited about Breakthrough on the 18th, because it's the first official breakthrough experience with Rich as part of the team. So the link is there at the bottom. You can head over to that if you want to book and join us. It is the last one of 2023. So Imran's decided we're going to have a little bit of a party afterwards as well.
Oh, yeah.
I
did not know about this. Very exciting.
It's the breakthrough bash. Christina will tell you all about it. But we're having this is to really, I mean, one of the celebrations I feel is the fact that we got this. You know, Paul Green says you guys need to get a room. Yeah, we will. We will be getting a room that night, right, Rich? But one of the things we're having a party is because we're having this breakthrough bash, right? And this is like really just seeing the year out. We've come so far. And, you know, at the beginning of the year, if many of you were with us, there were so many doubts, there's so many concerns and worries, and we've seen ourselves evolve, and we've seen so many people transform. That requires a celebration. Not just that, the fact that we have Rich with us and he has joined the team in its full entirety, and that deserves a get together, a drink, a chat. So the evening, I'm going to go and let Christina tell you what's happening in the evening, but the main premise of it is connecting, but also we want to celebrate ourselves, and we want to celebrate really having being enriched by Rich himself in the environment. It just feels that he's brought it to a whole new level. So the breakthrough bash, got to be there.
It's going to be amazing. It is. So like I said, we'll have a day full of learning. You will. Do you know what? It's really hard, so I don't want to give too much away. You know, you've been listening. You've heard a lot from Kim of her experiences and what Imran and Rich have been saying. So there's a ton of stuff that goes on that day. It's a very experiential event. Actually, Paul put something in the comments, right? And I thought this is really interesting. He said, you know, the traditional model around all this stuff is to do more, learn more, and be better. Where I guess it starts is with being. The breakthrough experience is a day centered on being. It really, really is. In being, you learn so much and you will have so many revelations. So you will have a day of that. And I would challenge anyone to walk out of that room without having learned something about themselves, about the way they behave, about a change they need to make in their lives, or whatever it may be. We'll get all of that out of the way. Then we'll have a few little drinks, maybe a little bit of boogie. And
Please don't say boogie again.
I can say boogie.
That was very mumsy.
It's my boogie.
So Kim, you up for the party, the bash on that Saturday evening? Because
I'm always at the party, Imran. Get the lemonades in.
Right, okay.
This is the other thing as well, right? Is that it is a like everyone, come for the day, stay for the party. You're all welcome, and this isn't like going to the pub, doing your shots, going crazy, rolling home at 5 o'clock in the morning, because you're in a community of people that care about themselves, are on a journey of growth, a path of growth, and a lot of fun will be had purely because of that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Can't wait. Amazing. You got the links in there?
Yeah. I was trying to type it while you were trying to get me to talk. I was like,
You can do it.
Ria says she's there to sober party. Absolutely.
And she can PARTY, let me tell you. I'm literally trying to hire a double decker and just get all of my friends to come for the day, because I'm like, oh, come on. I'm like, just come. Just, if there's any doubts, it's one day of your life. Just come. Come and then tell me that you don't like it. Simple as that.
Guys, we are on the hour, which means we need to wrap up. Any closing word, Rich? Any closing words from you?
Yeah, 2 words: be there.
Profound. Love it.
I'm gonna steal 2 words on the back of Rich as well, which is show up.
That's my words. You can't use my
I was waiting for that. I was waiting. No, but I didn't do it. I didn't do the whole thing. So there you go.
It's not all about you, Christina. Okay.
Yeah.
It is all about me. Go on, Kim.
Me, few words. Just come. If you're feeling like something's off in your life and you can't figure out what it is, or you're just sick of living the same crap day in, day out, it's one day. Just come. Just book the ticket and come. Get on the bus. Get on the party bus. And yeah, you'll thank yourself for it. And if you don't, I'll personally reimburse you. Might need a pay up, mate.
I think before you go, and yeah, Kim, that's so true, isn't it? And we all do think, if you've got a problem, only if you're facing some challenge or some trauma, or all of this sort of stuff. We base it on that a lot. But ultimately, if we're finding that there's areas in our lives that we want to improve, and most people, it's their health, their mindset, their finances, their relationships. And what you do is you run the same programs that created the problem in the first place, ending up in an environment that's going to give you clarity on how to solve the very problem. And that takes leadership, which is actually seeing the truth for what it really is, the first step. And if you can see that, it's in your awareness. You cannot unknow now what you know. And the beauty is once you come into that place, you then start to take the steps that form the changes that are going to ultimately create the future. So whether it's your health, your finances, your relationships, you don't have to be having big gaping problems in these areas. You just want to make them better. And an enhanced version of you is only going to get you there so much quicker. So, hey, we'll see you there, and we'll see you at the party. We'll see you at the bash. Can't wait. Christina, last few words before we check out.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I think the one thing that Rich didn't tell you, so the truth is, the only reason he wanted to be part of the group was when he first walked in. I gave him a massive hug. So if you want a hug, be there. That's it.
Kim, Christina, you're in charge of hugs, all right? Rich, we're going to be in the green room.
In your
okay,
own
guys. So the link is there. It's in the comments. Please book in. Please come and join us. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we've run over a little bit longer this week than we normally do. We'll be back again next Thursday at 12 and on the Green Umbrella Marketing channels. Guys, I just need you to give me a little wave for the artwork. There we go. Screenshot taken. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.